All right, folks. Welcome to TWiP Photo Critique number 215. 215. Special treat for you guys today. Troy Miller is laying on a beach somewhere, sunning himself or otherwise indisposed. So, to replace, and I did use the word replace, to replace Troy Miller, I have I have Mr. Jeff Greenberg on the hot seat to help me review photos today, talk through everything, and to just have a good time. You know, this we try not to take these things too seriously, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good submissions in here. Jeff, did you get a chance to look through the list at all?
I started looking through it. I first, um, in the same way that I couldn't replace Troy for welding, I can only approach this with the aesthetic of a video post-production colorist, an editor. The imagery here always, in fact, the community always has breathtaking imagery. And I have to
Yeah.
say, Frederick, I think a lot of it has to do with what you foster in that it's really difficult to share one's work. It just
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
emotionally is difficult.
you're right. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that too. And I mean, you're part of the community, right? So our community is just
Yes, sir.
as luckily as designed. It was intended to be a group of just adult. When I say adult, not even in age, adult thinking, and like-minded people who love photography, who have really good conversations and a lot to offer and share and come at the art from different directions. And and that's what it is. It's just a bunch of
Well,
people that are
as
like
a
you that like photography.
as a professional at every level, though, I think it's critical to have sort of group critique of people who can push your level higher. And it may or may not be somebody with the same aesthetics,
Yeah.
but it's finding that. It's one of the biggest areas I lament to people entering into the creative fields is that you need sort of a group of people who are willing to give you healthy feedback, not
Right.
the oh your all your work sucks, but how to make your work better. And you need some people from different disciplines and people who are sometimes better or worse. But finding that electric current, it's what's one of those things that's missing for a lot of creatives is without that
Yeah.
community, you can't really elevate your work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've had this conversation many times over the past couple of weeks, and it's the missing. There's a lot of things missing from photography, but I think kind of one of the main things that are missing is we have the tools. We have these great cameras. We got great software. We got great ways to share the work. There's all kinds of training online. I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches for anybody that's in this art form or in this hobby. But I think where there's some gaps that we need to build bridges over is that feedback loop. So you go out, you first of all, if you're a hobbyist, you need a little kind of some lattice work to shoot on. Like, what should you shoot? Do you just go out and take pictures, or are you shooting for a reason? And then once you shoot, unlike the old days with film, we had to take that film and then go back and process it and then print it. And then maybe we got one that we could show people. Now we have an instant feedback loop and a community where you can share and get better. Like, oh, maybe I should have taken that tree out. Maybe next time I'll take a step to the left and pay attention to the background and, all that. So that feedback loop is much, much, much faster, which is good. It's all a good thing. All right, let's
Totally
dive in.
agree. Where do we want
Let's
to start? Where do we want to start? You
let's
start at the top, you start at the bottom. Where do you go?
We start at the top, my friend. So here we are inside the community, inside of the member events area for this latest event, which is critique number 215. I'm going to reload the page just in case there was, oh, bad gateway. That's not nice. Ooh,
It's
what is
my fault.
happening?
I did that.
What'd you
It's my
do?
fault.
What's
I broke the
happening to my
world.
site here? All right, let's see. We're doing it live. Holy crap.
Nothing like doing it live.
Holy crap. Is the site down? Hold on. Let me see.
Well, I'll open it up in a different. I have it loaded right now,
Yeah, see if you can
so I'm
load
just
it
going to
because
open
it's
it.
not.
I'm going to
Reload
load
the
it in a
page.
different way. No, 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 no. I have a working page, my friend. I'm going to load
Yours
it in
is
a different
working.
browser. Oh, mine's not working. Mine's loaded. If I reloaded the page, you would have problems. So, in another one of those examples, oh, Google Chrome is required for screen sharing. I'm in the wrong browser.
I'm
Just going to
trying
share my screen.
Safari now. We're troubleshooting this live, people. Let's see if this will come up in what do you call it? Safari. Let's see if Safari will load the page.
So it looks
Wouldn't
like
that be something?
circle.
Because it was just working, and this is clearly a circle issue. I don't think it's going to come up. It's
I'm
not
going to
coming
need
up.
to. Hold on. I'm gonna. We can save this. Watch this. I need to log to Ecamm again, but
Okay, I got it.
with
It's back. It's back.
Chrome, not Safari. Is it back? Okay.
It's back. Yeah, that was well, knock on wood, it's back. Let's see. Let's see when I screen share, will it try to embarrass me again? Okay, here we go. So we're in Open General. Yeah, here we go.
You
Photo
handled that
critiques.
really well. You handled that really well.
Hey, you can't fluster me. You can't get me.
I have it still loaded in a browser window just in case.
Just yeah, keep that up.
Might have to
Just
switch browser.
keep it up just in case. All right, let's dive in. That was a little drama for you people, but this is what we get. We're working live without a net on the internet, streaming. Um, and here we go.
So I love Nora's photo here. I mean, I just
Yeah.
love the amount of uh, light and dark is captured here, and just how well divided it is. Can I channel my Troy for a moment?
Do it. Channel your best Troy. Go
Yeah,
get a beanie. You need a
is that
beanie.
yeah? I'm not gonna have a beanie yet. Only time I ever wear a hat is when I'm having a bad hair day, which is every day. Um, is that horizon just slightly? Just got a slight like? Could I just get? Ooh, just and
Is it
it's such a
tilted? It feels like
pedantic
is
thing.
it tilted? It's
It is
tilted to the.
tilted.
It,
It is.
it
It is.
feels like it is, but then it might
So
be. Knowing
let me
Nora,
let me
she drew out a guide, and it's probably not tilted. It might be an optical illusion because
I
of the
swear to you,
the lines in there.
the left side is higher. I swear to you, the
Is
left side's
it?
higher.
Ugh, wait, let me do it. Let me do a guide on this thing. Let's see.
Now it may
It
not.
is.
It may
It
be the
is.
runway is flat. It may be the runway is flat. Make sure you click on the image and go full screen on it a second.
Oh well, I'm
So
as
you get
big as
this
we go on this one. This is as big as we get.
because I sense maybe I think we're both right and wrong. I think
Mm-hmm.
the runway is flat. I think there's just some slight hills in those background that give us the illusion that it's not a straight line. So maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. I can be
It
wrong.
might be. I would think, and we've said this before in the critiques. If it is an illusion, if that horizon is actually tilted like that, then the onus is on the photographer to cheat it back the other direction. Just
Hmm.
because people like us, annoying people like us, will look at the image and assume that it's incorrect. And if it isn't incorrect, and you were just trying to be true to the image, you're losing people because nobody was there, right? So you gotta rotate it the other direction to eliminate that point of contention on the image. But it's assuming
I,
it was,
I, I
assuming the landscape was tilted like that, because
sure. I love anytime we get these sort of rays coming out from the clouds. I remember generating them all fake, so it looks gorgeous. Do you find that the pools of light in the reflected at the bottom are distracting? I'm just curious.
I honestly do not. I think without them, I think it'd be too dark down there. It'd be too
Hmm.
featureless. I think with them down there, it adds a little balance and a little, some much needed contrast because you got loads of contrast in the upper, 7/8 of the image. And then down below, without those pools of water, it would just be an abyss down there, which would be a different photo. Maybe that wouldn't be bad. You'd just be more in a silhouette kind of situation. But yeah,
Well, I
I
feel
like it. I like it
this
like
is a
this.
lot about this is for me at least in looking at it. This is very much about contrast. This is very much, we've got these beautiful clouds at the top, this beautiful mid-range area of uh, warmth, and we've got this sort of cold at the bottom. I would just the creator in me, the overstepping creator in me, Frederick, wants to like make all of them go away and just see what that would look like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of pictures in this one, right? So she chose to go with kind of a square-ish crop. It might be a little bit wider than it is long, but you could punch into this easily and make that aircraft more of the hero of the image and kind of concentrate on these light beams here that are coming down on the aircraft, maybe, in post, lighten up the aircraft a little bit to sell that it's being hit by the sunbeams, and then crop down. Like if the image is fine as is, obviously the artist wanted to show the pattern of clouds and this little tiny aircraft under the grandeur of the sky. But if you wanted to focus more on the aircraft, if you cropped down maybe even half of the image, leaving the rest as is, you'd still have your clouds in there, and then it would be more about the aircraft. If that was the goal for the shot, right?
Well, we have the aircraft in it. I would imagine that's our hero. It's either that or the sun
Yeah. Yeah. Or the sky, right? We don't know. Right? It could
or the
just
sky.
this could be something about, aircraft flying in inclement weather or something. I don't know. But yeah, it depends on the
I
goal of the artist and the goal of the piece itself.
agreed. It's a gorgeous shot nonetheless.
Yep. Agreed. Good job, Nora. Thank you. All right. And up next is Peter Levshin. He calls this one dark and wet. Look at that.
I'm
Does it?
just
When I
absorbing.
first
Look
saw
at the
this, and
texture.
I told Peter I told him privately we were doing our member mixer, and I was looking at this shot. I told him it to me it looked inverted, like maybe zoomed out. It gives that sort of impression, but it feels inverted to me. I don't know why. I know it's not, but it feels inverted. It's really nice.
I wasn't there for that. I'm, really getting a first look at this. I have a moment where it almost gives me a little bit of vertigo, where it looks
Mm.
like I'm looking down over a ledge.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you're
Those
like,
rock,
whoa.
'cause that rock, those front rocks have really gorgeous texture, and he's really got that texture remaining in there. But it feels a little bit. I mean, I guess what I'm standing and the water is falling in front of me, but for a moment here, it kind of looks like I'm peering over a ledge.
Yeah. You know what it gives me the feeling of? Can I show my geek card a little bit?
Show your geek
This
card.
the Sarlacc pit.
Interesting. It was Lord of the Rings for me. This is very
Lord of
Lord of
the
the Rings
Rings.
esque.
Oh, it's clearly the
Yeah, yeah.
Sarlacc pit. Where your body will be
Uh,
dissolved
with or
slowly
without
over thousands of years.
over 1,000 years. No, no, with or without the beak, because I don't think the Sarlacc pit with the beak is the same.
Yeah. No. 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 That's nice though. So what do you like this shot? He chose to not go monochromatic with it, although it is relatively monochromatic, or maybe with a hint of blues in there. Do you think this shot would have been more effective or less effective if he was to drop all the color out and just go, 100% black and white, contrasty?
I I can see that there's some color in it. I'd be r- I don't think taking it straight black and white would be the right choice. I
Mm,
think it needs something. What would be real interesting, I wonder, is how far you could push the saturations and what sort of story, how it would change that story. Because there definitely is some color in here.
hmm hmm You know what it needs?
And
It needs a model on
what
that rock. That's what it needs
it
under the
could, it
waterfall.
could, yeah.
Laduna Rita
So
says, "I
it,
see ex dead people." That's awesome.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm always impressed at the ability to bring out texture, and uh, this it's a skill in and of itself. And I'm really catching, some of the texture off the rocks to the right, but particularly that one in the center. And behind, are is there a tree in there, or is it just water splashing?
I don't see a tree. No, I think. Oh, you're talking about like right here, this little bit right here.
Yeah, yeah, right
Yeah,
in there. Yeah. I'm
yeah. I
almost
I
catching
think
a little
that's a
green in there,
splash.
or it's my brain filling in.
Oh, see, when I look at it now, I see a wolf. Looking out.
I see the wolf. I see the
You see
wolf.
the wolf look in this direction?
I
Yeah, there's a
totally see the
wolf in
wolf.
there.
I totally see the wolf. It's
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Really
Yeah,
nice.
but I think in listening to the two of us, I'm going, I'm trying to find that piece in here. I would love to have seen like what else in that series Peter shot,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just to see if, just to see if the story changes at all. I'd also love to visit the location.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder where this is. Peter, let us know. When we chat with you, I don't think you're in the chat now, but let us know where this was shot so we can descend on it. All right. Peter Levshin, Dark and Wet. Thank you, sir. See anybody put anything in the replies? No. Next up is Michael Brown, House Finch. Look at that portrait. It's a presidential
Wow.
portrait right there.
It's literally out of Audubon.
Uh-huh.
You know, it like if I were gonna, it feels absolutely like this is almost too perfect of an animal photograph. You
Yeah.
know, it the sort of thing like where they would have gone, oh no, no, that one green leaf though is blocking the subject.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, this one. Deduct 10 points for obscuring the subject with this leaf. Yeah.
That's only if we were the Audubon catalog.
I
I
like the
mean,
leaf obscuring it, but I'm weird. I could see how, it would be the quote, holding up quote fingers, the perfect photograph of this finch if that leaf weren't there. Hey, but the leaf is there. It's fine. Birds land on leaves
I
and get
don't know that
obscured by, or on branches.
I don't know that it has to be perfect. You know, if for wildlife photography, it's always the eyes of the animal
Uh
that I
huh.
think are the most appropriate, more than is the stage perfect. I like the leaves in front. Um, I love the texture across the greens of that front leaf and seeing the bird's feet. I mean, I'm zooming in on my screen,
Mm-hmm.
and wow, there's just such great detail in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
do.
really tight. His work is always crisp to
His work is always
the
breathtaking.
DNA level. Yeah, it's
I
beautiful.
want to know, can I see Michael in the eye of the bird?
Oh yeah, I wonder. I wonder. You know what I would have done differently on this shot if I was first of all, great shot. You don't need to do anything differently on it. But if I were to change it, I would probably crop in on the left side a little bit to move the bird to more to the right side of the frame so that the animal
Mm.
is looking into the frame and less dead center. The other thing is for me is this whatever this object in the background is, it's I want to say it's round, so it looks inorganic. Maybe this is just some sort of foliage back there that's giving the illusion of inorganic matter, but it looks inorganic because it's circular back there. You don't really find that much in nature. So maybe reduce this a little bit so that it's not so obvious and coming out of the bird there. Because aside from everything else, if and maybe the crop would fix that. So if you cropped maybe half of that thing off and maybe pushed it back a little bit, I don't know how, maybe some blurring or maybe even cloning it out of there. That would take me away from getting lost in the eddy of these pixels and keep me in these pixels looking at the face and enjoying the shot instead of short circuiting me and taking me out on this journey of what is that thing back there. So
I mean, we it always becomes an interesting conundrum about cropping, about how it just so utterly changes the the feeling of a picture. And I'm sitting back here using, you know, a screenshot utility, so it darkens everything, gives me sort of a pseudo illusion to build
mm-hmm.
that exact crop that you just discussed. I like that idea. I also might crop a little bit out of that bottom leaf. I might have it
Yeah.
all the way in or partially out. Its little tip missing at the bottom bothers me. I don't know,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
Michael
agree.
does
Yeah.
such great work. He does such great work. Uh, I would just be curious about some different crops on it. I also love the color of its beak. It just has just a little bit of color or blood, one of the two. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This bird has attitude. Look at him. Love that. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Oh, who Jim and La Rita in the chat say they love the shadow of the tail. So I'm guessing that's this down here that they're talking about. I don't know.
Is that yeah, yeah, that's exactly it's
Mm-hmm.
straight down
Right
below
there.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good shot. Really
Wow.
good. All right, Mr. Brown, thank you very much for sharing that. All right, up next is Amy Brooks. Amy says, submitting from the land of ferns, taken May 19th of this year. Look at that. Yeah, she went pattern, right? Drop that color out of there. We all know what
Yeah.
color ferns are. So she got rid of it, and now we're forced to look at the patterns and the detail of the ferns themselves. Well done. What do you think? And it looks like another sarlacc pit in the middle there. So now,
It does.
now I'm
It
seeing
also
sarlacc pits everywhere.
it has for me very much almost it's like a carpet, you know? It's like
Hmm.
a pattern, such a this could be a pattern that ships with Photoshop. I mean, it's just got such wonderful detail. Um, is a little well, yeah, as I'm really like zooming in and looking at the detail, I'm noticing intentionally, I'm hoping, some of the background and some of the foreground is just a little out of focus.
Hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
that one on the right bothers me a little bit, that one branch.
Which on this side, camera right or camera
Yeah,
left?
yeah, that one right, the camera right.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, it's just a little soft.
Mm. Yeah, with shots like this with so much high frequency detail, that's when you pay attention to that a lot. Being a little bit off, on focus. I mean, you want to be as crisp as possible, but on shots like this, it really reveals itself because you're getting lost in the details of these ferns, and you want to see it as crisp as possible from corner to corner.
I'm so wondering how this was shot. Was this, a bunch of ferns put together? Was this, just one fern just arranged?
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna
I
guess
don't
there
know
was a
anything
bunch
about
of
ferns.
ferns that she walked by and saw and snapped this shot. This looks natural. I like it.
I love the depth in the center.
Yeah, as I'm saying, this looks like the Sarlacc pit right there. You want to reach your
Starlight
arm
pit,
down in
sure.
there,
Sure, or a forest, or a forest.
or a
Forest of
forest,
ferns.
or a forest. Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
also I also love how on the left side the branch totally changes the symmetry. Totally changes the pattern along the
Hmm.
left side. That top branch. It's just it makes me think of like Mandelbrot sort of stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, Amy's in the chat. Amy says, "This is a bunch of ferns I walked by. Put my tripod up high to shoot down. There you go. It does it."
Wow. My Amy, my wife, Amy, just absolutely. We went from having like three, four animals to three or four children, and now we have 150 plants in the house. I'm not kidding, Frederick. I actually asked her to do like a rough count, and it's well over 100. And I wonder if we've got ferns somewhere in the house because we've got all this greenery now. It's breathing in the house is great. This is gorgeous, Amy. It is
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it is. You can all smell them. Very good. Amy Brooks, thank you very much. And up next is Mr. Craig Stamfley. Just look natural. Look at that. That's fun. That's interesting. Check out the processing on this one, right? So, I mean, clearly he's being funky with the processing. He's got a fair-haired subject, fair-haired or fair-skinned, fair-haired against a sandy background with some seaweed on there on her and in the background. But the color processing, I can't put my finger on what he did here. Like, can you? Did he? Is there a wash of cyan over it, or like there's something going on here that I can't figure out exactly what he did.
Um, yeah, there's definitely something going on. I mean, it's it's going to be hard to it's going to be hard to reverse engineer.
Yeah.
Eyeballs might give me, yeah, yeah. Look at that. So if the eyeballs are meant to be white, there is a deficiency. There's definitely some cyan and some blue in there. Good
Yeah.
call, Frederick.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good,
I know my
good eyes. I
colors.
don't know. Well, I'm on a Mac a calibrated display, but not my grading display. But as
Yeah.
I look at this, I see that. I also see a fairly low amount of contrast for there to be shadow, and I'm assuming that's intentional, of course,
Mm-hmm.
as a secondary process. I mean, there's not a lot of brightness difference between the bright parts of her skin, maybe from the brightest parts, and the darkest parts are fairly low.
Yeah. 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 Interesting. Well done. You know, one of the things when I look at shots like this is that are I mean, this one isn't exactly suggestive, obviously, but we do have a woman in it that appears to be topless. And
Yep.
knowing what he was shooting this day, I think there was some nude photography involved in there. But I love these kind of shots that aren't explicit, right? Not explicit like pornography, but they're just suggestive of the nudity, and I find that more what's the word, mysterious, I guess, than just in your face all this stuff, which is fine, and a ton of shots, of course, but these kind of shots that like just make it a secondary thing, a secondary hook, where the real hook is her being playful with the seaweed on her nose. It's real people, right? It's not about their body or the nudity. That's a foregone conclusion. It's about this beautiful person here that has I'm assuming a great personality, and he got the shot regardless of the state of textile she chose to put on her body.
100%. One of the great examples of that is the original film Frankenstein. There's a scene where the monster confronts like a little girl who's a flower. And the funny part of it, Frederick, is I think in early versions of the script, the monster kills the little girl
Mm.
and they just cut it out. And the entire audience sees the monster, sees the little girl, and then the next shot, there's no little girl, and their imagination is
Yeah.
um is way more extreme than whatever really happened. And I think that's one of the real fine lines with um skin and photography. And not to sound a prude, because I'm the furthest on this planet. The only person who might be further would be like somebody like Renee. Um,
Yeah.
but legit, I look at this sort of stuff and I love stuff left to the imagination, because the imagination for me is invariably more personal and wilder than whatever you
Yeah.
could shoot.
Unless that's what it's about, right? If the shot is about the nudity, right? Then yeah, lean into it
Yep.
100%. But if it's not, and then use it as a tool of mystery. I think one of the shots that will come to mind, that came to mind while you were talking about sort of the mystery in cinematography, is of course the iconic scene in Psycho. Was that Psycho? The shower scene
Yeah.
where, yeah,
Shower
well,
scene,
you
never
never
see
really
the,
see her getting cut or anything. You just see the knife
it's
and the
correct.
music and the chocolate syrup going down the drain, right? Because it's black and white, right?
100%.
That's it. That's it. I love it. And you would have sworn that you saw her getting knifed in the shower, and you never saw it. You
Mhm.
never saw the knife actually making contact, which is brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah, I love that.
Brilliant. This is a great. It's a great job. Interesting here. You and I didn't say anything, and I'm not going to, but we didn't say anything about the cropping or the framing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, which works, right? Because it's in
yeah,
service of the image, right? The 1-to-1 crop works with this shot. I mean, the dead center placement of our subject and the subject within the subject, which is the seaweed under the nose, dead center for the most part. It works. Her looking off to the side in the frame, that works. And the thick border, it actually pulls us into the frame. I don't know, I'm on the fence about the border itself, or if it should have been black. Maybe it should have been white. I don't know. But I don't know.
I
Subjective,
like the
right?
border. Not only do I like the border, but I'm looking at it, and when I was looking at it originally blown up, but as I look at it further away, when I look at it in the browser window, it almost has a little bit of 3D depth to it, which I think is nice.
He's got a little key line on the inside of it, probably.
Yeah, a little bit of
Yeah.
parallax going on. Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice. That's a nice shot. Like a shot like this would be good as a cinematograph or something, where you're looking at the shot,
Hmm.
and maybe like her eyes move, or she looks in the opposite direction, or she looks at you then back away or something. That would add to it too. But really good
Or her
shot,
nose
really fun
wiggles.
shot. Or her nose wiggles, yeah, yeah. Or some water comes up, or the seaweed moves a little bit, or something. But this, I think my guess is he did not go to this location with this beautiful model with the intent of making this particular shot. I'm guessing this is probably a shot that he did between shots or after the shoot or something, and ended up with a gem. Which is how it
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, very good, Mr. Stanley. Very cool. All right, coming up next is Karen Sweeney. Look at this, Bambi. Look at that shot there. Karen's in the chat too. Good. What do you think?
Bambi's tongue out. Bambi's tongue is out.
Bambi's eating lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look. So like when I so is it? Are we sharp, Karen, all the way in here? I think so. I can't zoom in on this. So if this is sharp, great. I think the only thing that I would have. I don't know. I don't know if I'd change anything about this shot, to be honest with you. I mean, you could do a different crop, like punch in a little bit on the animal, just the face. Maybe, forget about the body so much. But I kind of like the body in this crop. So this, cropping it per my suggestions is just an alternative way of looking at the shot. But the depth of field looks very fantasy like, right? And if you crop in a little bit, then it's all about the face and the tongue action, because that's the first thing we see is like, oh, you don't see that all the time, right? So I want to see more of that and what this animal is eating. This foliage in the foreground is a little distracting. I don't know if you could do much about that
It's bothering me.
other than crop out a little bit, but I don't know. What do you think?
It's bothering me there as well, and it's bothering me a little bit over the ear. It's just
Oh, this right here.
it's just distracting me just a bit. I mean, because the message here, the item here is the eating of the foliage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and those items pull my eye away from it. I think the
Yeah.
crop could have been a little bit tighter and taken out that some of that bottom noise. I don't think it
Yeah.
would have hurt the depth of field at all.
That's the rub though, right? Even when Karen was post processing this, you're thinking like, what's the story I'm trying to tell here, right? And I look at this and looking at it through the artist's eyes, I'm thinking, yeah, you don't see this very often. This close up look at a deer actually having its lunch, that's the shot. Then externally, we come in as critics and look at it, and I'm thinking the hero or the story here that we're trying to show is the deer eating lunch. So all else are secondary characters. So punch in on the face here. We don't, in an alternative crop, you don't need to see the entire deer's body or the chest area here. Maybe crop it at the neck a little bit and bring us in a little bit tighter on the deer, eliminating some of this foliage on the left here. And like you said, Jeff, maybe clone this thing out above the ear to bring us
I don't
into it
know that I
even
would
further.
clone it out. I pushed it on screen. I went and zoomed in on my screen, and I really like just like above the shoulder here. I think it's that punching in would be a really nice, interesting variant of a crop. I think it would I think it tells the story a little bit better. And that's my version of the story. Her
Mm-hmm.
version of the story, I always have that ultimate respect,
Mm-hmm.
Karen,
Mm-hmm.
for you as the artist. I'm giving you my feeling as the artist, which is, if I were doing it. And that's not, I want to be respectful. I just
Oh
would be
yeah,
curious
yeah.
to see if you played with crops that were a little closer,
Yeah, these
because
critiques
I think it would
are
work well.
it bears restating. Yeah, these critiques are always subjective, right? We're just two guys that are looking at a shot, trying to provide constructive, hopefully objective criticism. And
I
that's
mean,
really all these
I would
critiques
kill
are.
to be this lucky. I would kill to be this
Hmm.
lucky to get this sort of footage. I wonder how long she spent
Yeah,
waiting around
yeah. Karen's in the
and
chat.
how
She
far her
says
zoom was.
that bit you were talking about at the left ear affected her, but left it in because it was a previously munched twig. So it was a dirty plate back there.
I'll also give you the joke, Frederick, that it makes me want to like, double check that I've cleaned out any ear hairs in my life, because that deer's got a lot of them going on.
Yeah, that'll be you soon, my friend. It's coming. It's coming. The ear hairs are
Balls,
coming.
man.
Yeah, and well, you
I
know what
hope
happens. You know what happens. The ear hairs come. Well, I'm told because I haven't, but I'm told the ear hairs come, and that's fine. But it's the point when you don't care about them anymore. Like, you ever seen like the old guys that have these long gnarly hairs coming out of their nose, or just they just leave them. Right? I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that
ready,
sees
ready
that in
for
the
this.
mirror and then is like, you know what, whatever. I'm going out anyway.
May you live old enough that you become complacent about such things.
Yes, yeah. And when I get there, I'm gonna be like, I don't care. Who cares? Whatever. I got bigger fish
That's
to
right.
fry. Yep, that's right. All right, Karen Sweeney, thank you much for
Beautiful work.
Bambi munching. All right. Up next is Thomas. He says single red tulip in a field of yeller. Let's see. Look at that pattern interrupted. This remind Vincent Versace. Are you familiar with him, the photographer?
I, I vaguely. From where?
Well, he's an educator and an influencer in the photography space. He's written a bunch of books. Some of them I have in my shelf here. But he did this talk. I want to say it was at WPPI. Maybe it was Photo Plus. It might have been New York. But I remember he did this talk, and it was about pattern interrupted. That was the title of the talk, and he was talking about how giving yourself a self exercise of going out and looking for patterns in nature or not, and finding the thing that interrupts the pattern and photographing that. So anytime I see a shot like this one, that's what I think. I think of, oh, there's a
Well,
pattern and
I
it's
did a quick
interrupted.
I did a quick Google. I've heard of his name, but I once saw the imagery. It I've seen his stuff before. It's gorgeous
Yeah,
stuff. This
yeah.
is gorgeous. I mean, I love the noticing these sort of breaks in a pattern. I almost go, was this staged, Frederick? Because it's so iconic like that.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
expect to ever see anything this real in the world along those lines. I also really like the depth of field on this image.
Hmm.
Just that
It's a sliver.
got that one red rose. Yeah, it's tight out, and be very curious about that process. Do you feel a black border would have helped this one? Just
Some
out of
kind of
curiosity.
border, yeah, yeah, some kind of border. Maybe black. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Part of a knee jerk reaction might be to put a yellow border or a red border on this.
Hmm.
I or a green border. Maybe a green border would be a good, like a dark green pulled from maybe this era or this area of the image right here. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, but I think it would benefit from a border, probably black or white. Just sort of trap it in there.
Well, yeah. What makes me feel like we've got this field, or this field of tulips. We've got this beautiful red flower, really breaking it up, and I just want something to be. We're looking at it with a white border, if you will.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
I feel like a dark black border would just snap you into it just a little faster.
It would. It would. Yeah, and Laduna Arena says I was going to say this too, so I actually agree that this patch over here on the left would be good to have
Hmm.
cropped that out. Yeah, I think losing that would have been good. I don't know. And something there's two other things that I was going to mention. One of them is I feel like it's noisy, right? I feel like it needs to be run through some sort of noise reduction software, whether it's in Lightroom or On One or Topaz or whatever, to pull that noise out of there, along with that crop. And then, secondly, for me, I don't know if it's just OCD or whatever, that rose is tilted to the right. I want that rose to be straight up and down perpendicular. So I don't know why. I just want it to be straight up and down. But otherwise, yeah, no, yeah, great shot though.
I agree with you on the noise. The rose tilt doesn't bother me at all. It's breaking up
No,
the vision.
yeah.
No, you want the OCD one, the tulip the tulip to the right of it. That's right behind.
Oh,
Uh,
back here.
so if you yeah, yeah, over to the left, just a little, just the one sticking up. Nah, you're on the left
Oh,
side. I
this
want you on
one.
the right
This
side.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
one.
That one there.
Yeah.
That one there, I'd make go away. I would just go in there and snip it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's easy. I mean,
Um,
that's easy Photoshop work
yeah,
right there.
but
Yeah.
I'm definitely seeing the noise now that you mention it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's definitely in a like maybe this was blown up a little too much,
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
or
It
maybe
feels
the
like
lighting was pushed a little too
this was
far.
they got a nice he got a nice shot of this field and noticed this shot in a wider shot and got this one out of it maybe, and it was right on the edge of having too much noise. But if you're there, that's where software comes in to the rescue with AI upscaling and denoising and all that. That could easily pull more detail out of this shot.
Still, I definitely feel got that really gorgeous, um, you know, spent
And
the
it's
time to at least find that shot, and that's a hard one to find.
Yeah, and it's a contrast of colors too. I mean, we love our brains love these kind of color harmonies, so it's instantly a win. This one is moving in the whole McDonald's direction, right? Why do we love McDonald's? Because they pick those yellow colors for the fry logo, and they use the red and all that stuff. So it's like it draws us in,
100%.
draws us in. Love it. All right, up next is Dr. Eric Pronsky. He says, Elliot and Otto. I took this image this afternoon. Our little doxy Otto goes and kisses our new grandbaby Elliot every time they are together. Shot it with his Sony at 135. Let's take a look. Oh,
I'm a
look at
sucker
that.
for these sort of shots. I'm a sucker for these sort of shots.
Yep.
I got 3 kids, I'm taking on the average like 40 to 80 photos a week is a minimum, just
Yeah.
whenever I'm noticing something cute, it's all the time. And this is just such a great moment. The dog's tongue is just plastered on that child's face.
Yeah. That's love right there. That's love. Either that's love or that's some tasty baby food you just had. I need some of that.
It's definitely tasty baby food. Take take a look at the dog's eye.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
is just a gorgeous glass like that side imagery is just such a hard shot to
Yeah.
capture, just a hard moment.
Yep.
I'm seeing I don't know if it's shadow or wet along the child's neckline.
Yeah, yeah, Cameron had that too. That's Cameron was constantly leaking fluid out of her mouth for about 2 years. She would be constantly wet right around here from just drool. So I'm guessing that's drool right there, which is good. We all do it. Well, some of us more than
It
others,
is,
but
but it's when I see it, I go, "Was that from the dog?" Which is wonderful. I also love the texture of the dog's ear.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and that collar. I get lost in that collar too. Like,
Yeah, the collar.
yeah, that is a cool collar. Yep. And Eric says, would a black and white have been better? He just thought about this. I don't know. What do you think? Would you have gone black and white with this?
Um, no.
Yeah, you
No,
need the
I don't
color.
think black
Yeah.
and white would have been better with this. I think the color here really I think it's because for me that the dog's the texture and color of the dog's fur I think would get hurt if it was just black and white. Makes me want to I'm kicking up my display settings right now and seeing, real quickly if I can take my display into black and white easily.
Oh, to see what it looked
I
like?
probably can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to accessibility and seeing if I can quickly under the display go, let's see, invert, choose contrast. Where's the black and white? It's always been one of my practical jokes is there's a way to turn somebody's computer. There it is, black and white. There. Wow. So I just went into, by the way, accessibility under display color filters, and the default is grayscale, and it works as a grayscale. I think it works better with color. I really do.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think color for me on this one works better. It'd be dramatic in black and white for sure. But Eric, you might want to consider if you have enough resolution in this shot, you might want to consider doing something more abstract, like punching in really tight on just the face and the dog licking, like crop out most of the dog and just show the snout with the baby's face in there, and see how that renders out for you. That could be really cool. Versus all this. Again, we talk about what's the subject and what's the story here in this photo. Clearly, the point of contact of tongue and cheek is the story here. All the rest there are supporting pixels. So what if we just dive directly into that and lean into it if we have the resolution for it?
If you go closer, do you keep, like, the thing is you lose the collar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This
And
shot
both of us
as
are
is
drawn
is
to it.
this shot as is great, but I'm just saying experiment and go abstract with just face and snout and see what that reveals, because that could be interesting. I could see face and snout. Maybe it's a triptych, right? Or maybe 4 or 5 shots where you got a shot of the dog, you got a shot of the kid, and you got this shot, and then maybe this shot that we're looking at here, and then maybe a shot with it punched in showing more of the licking action there, which is fun. We all know how that feels right
It's a
there.
fun shot. It's a
Yeah.
fun shot.
Yeah. You know what's so interesting? This is a complete non sequitur, but what's really interesting to me about pets and animals is how they know to make eye contact. I know it's just, it's a mammal thing, but like my cats will just like look at me, stare at me dead in the eyes, telling me to do something or asking for something or whatever. But just that
I'm
eye
sure
contact is so weird.
I'm sure it has to do with originally predator prey relationships, and then later, domestication of animals. Hey, the dogs that make, warm eye contact get more food, and
Yeah.
therefore are more likely to survive.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
cats are the
but
cats
yeah,
are the
that
kings of that, right? They domesticated themselves to get fed. Which is smart.
that
Why not?
we had several cats before children, but only one dog. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, the cats absolutely are the most manipulative animals on the planet.
they are, and I love it. I love to be manipulated by cats. All right, let's see. Eric, next up is Phil Lewenthal. Phil says triangulation. Look at that. Look at that power. Phil just captures the power of those waves. It's just crazy. Look at that. Look at this little triangle down here. That's a triangulation. Look at that. You got all this crazy action going on around here, and then what's going on here? The Bermuda Triangle just happening right there. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of
And
this
you
shot?
just
And I love it in
film.
black and white too, because these waves are green. This is California, right? So they got the greenish tinge to them.
I mean, I absolutely love the power and motion in here. The
Hmm.
swirls at the top, the triangle on the bottom, 100%. But it's almost like fine hair of how much it's like how much energy is sitting in here.
Yeah.
It almost for a moment doesn't look like waves. It could be clouds. It could be just wind pushing. It's got so much energy, this picture. Does the triangle that's in the lower left corner bother you at all?
No, I mean he titled this triangulation, right? So he's clearly leaning into that. He picked this shot out of,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, a bunch of shots to present here. So no, it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I'd love to if we knew scale here. That'd be like if there was something in that triangle to give us a sense of scale, like a cruise ship or something. That would be awesome, or something, or a sea
Or a
palm, Phil,
person
a
or a
sea
seal.
palm in the
Yeah.
triangle. Yeah, yeah. He says
I just wonder if
he
a
says several
yeah,
triangles in the chat here. Yeah, yeah. It's made of triangles. Look at that. There's a triangle here. There's one here. There's one here. Yeah, it's made of triangles. Very nice.
it's full of stars.
Yeah. Yep. It's full of stars.
Yeah,
Very cool.
I would love to see what what was this cropped down from, if it was cropped down much. Um, yeah, there's so many triangle. Like I'm finding
Mm-hmm.
triangles now left and right in the
Mm-hmm.
imagery.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Love it. Phil's work is great. What do you think about the border and the key line on this? I know what Troy would say. I'm curious what you say.
The key line, the key line bothers me. The border doesn't. The key line, and I don't know what it would look like without it. To be honest,
Hmm.
it would take me a moment. The key line like makes it just it yeah, that bothers me a little bit. I just don't know how the black against that imagery would, if it would work well, if that key line isn't necessary to make it feel like that black border is really strong.
Yeah. I don't
What
mind the
would
key
Troy
line
say?
on
I'm
this one.
curious.
Yeah, Troy would
He
love. I
hates it,
mean,
huh?
no, he loves borders and key lines.
Oh
He
no.
would he's never met a photo that didn't need a key line or a border or a sloppy border. But
I'll have to try more of that.
uh, yeah, on this particular shot, I don't mind it. I don't mind the key line because I know what you were doing, Phil. At least I'm guessing that you put the black on there and it was disappearing into some of the black areas, and there wasn't enough separation there. So throwing the key line on there sells it much better, and it makes us feel like we're peering into a portal of triangular power generated by the ocean. So yeah, yeah, I get it. Yeah, and it's yeah, so I like it. I like the thickness of the border. I wonder what it would have looked like with a white border and a black key line around there. If that would have been different. I mean, obviously it'd be different, but I wonder if that would have been more effective. But this is effective just like this. I'm a fan of the black border, and I'm not normally a fan of the key line, but in this case, I could see that it's definitely utilitarian to separate from the border itself. So very good.
Sorry about that.
And Phil says, yeah, maybe
My
the key line
I
should
just
be a bit darker. Yeah, Phil, maybe just a little bit darker to make it less obvious. That would have probably sold it much better too. This a little bit darker, but not so dark as, obviously that you lose it into the border itself or into the image itself, but just a little bit darker and less contrasty, I guess. But
great shot.
cool shot. Cool shot. All right. And show more comments. I think there's a couple more in here. Oh, just one more. Last one is from Mark Charette. He says, The Office, actually. This is the view from a new client co-works at Killcare Beach. Killcare? What kind of place is that?
A place with very expensive rent.
Yeah. Yeah. Or yeah. It looks great. I would love to go to this place. I don't know. Tell me what you think about the shot. I feel this is kind of an ordinary shot, right? It's more of a documentary shot that goes along with a bunch of other shots that were taken at this place, not necessarily an artistic interpretation of this location. I think if you
Oh, I'm
that's
going to take
again
it as
opinion.
artistic. I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
take it as an artistic interpretation. Um, and I always sort of struggle with items that have broken symmetry,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
don't, so like, you of course definitely align it for the horizon. You obviously do that. But then
Yeah.
the carpet bothers me, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I this is going to drive you crazy. Maybe it won't drive you crazy. I would hate working in a place like this. I would
I would love it.
love the view for in between, but all this is gorgeous distraction, and it is
Yeah.
gorgeous. And just that moment, the moment here of the waves breaking strikes me as that is a lot of shots to wait for that moment.
Mhm. Yeah. I think compositionally, because and Karen, you're right. The horizontals and the verticals are spot on in this shot. Considering that, and considering we have these two vertical posts to contend with, and what looks like a very symmetrical scene, if shot perpendicular to like this railing here, or so that you've got forced symmetry with a chair, and this I would crop this square and put these chairs in the center of the image. Make sure that table's in the center of this one of these glass panes here, right there. Or I'm in the right place. Yeah, one of these glass panes. Make sure the table's in the center there, and just go for the symmetry of the shot, and then get set up and wait for the wave, like you said, Jeff. Wait for the wave and then get the shot. This shot, because of the it looks like it wants to be symmetrical and it's not. It's taking me out of the shot. Maybe that was the intent. And if it's not going to be symmetrical, then lean into that piece of it and maybe cheat a little bit more to the right side or get closer, use a wide angle lens to distort the chairs a little bit more or something so that it's not, my brain doesn't start looking at it and looking for symmetry because it looks like it wants to be symmetrical. I don't
There's
know.
so much there's so much areas here that have beautiful straight, up and down, left and right lines. I
Hmm.
think that's part of that struggle. Um, the hero for me here is by far the ocean. Uh, it's, brightest, it's visually, it's he's done such a job of framing the ocean inside the panes of glass.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's something I'm
Absolutely.
only really appreciating now as I take a deep look at the image. So much of the sky itself is just blank. It's a blank canvas. And I like that. I like that negative space of the sky.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, I
I
mean,
wonder how many were in the shot? How many were in the shot, Frederick? Was this, one of 100, one of 50? How many of these before that ocean was just peak gray?
well, I mean, this is a Mark Charette shot. So Mark is a 360 photographer. So I'm guessing this is probably one of
Mhm.
a million that he shot to, to stitch together for this view, right? So yeah, very cool though. Yeah, I want to go there. I could see sitting out there just hanging out with your iPad and a little Mai Tais, your feet kicked up. Why not? Love it.
I think it would be a lot easier to get a client to say yes in that sort of location and also to build them well.
Absolutely. All right, Mark Charette, thank you, sir. And I think that be it for this one. Do you have a favorite shot of the bunch, Jeff? Can you
I'm
pick a
working
favorite
my way
child?
through. I'm working my way through. Um, it's coming down to the child or the or Craig's just look natural.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you pick because I'm thinking similarly, but I'll let you pick.
Uh,
We'll put the camera
I'm
on
I'm
Jeff.
as a
All pressure
as
on
a
Jeff
happy
Greenberg.
father. That's fine. As a happy father, I got to go with Eric's shot this week. Elliot Nato. It's such an iconic. I mean, that's kid that's kid photography at its finest.
Yeah,
That would be so hard to script unless you put peanut butter on the kid's face. And maybe you feed the
exactly.
kid peanut butter to get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Congratulations, Dr. Pronsky, for sharing this week's favorite.
Gorgeous work. Gorgeous
Yep.
work. Everybody did gorgeous work.
All right, so we'll leave it at that. We're right at the top of the hour, everybody. Next week, or well, actually this week, look out for an email or a message from me that reschedules our group kind of informal photo critique. So I did an informal survey during one of the last mixers, and I think it netted out that most of the folks in the community want to do them in the evenings, like around 6 p.m. Pacific time, kind of like our mixer. So I'm going to experiment with that and change a couple of formatting things around that. So keep an eye out for that email. For the next critique, the next live stream critique, that'll be on the 5th of June. We're already in June. You believe that? So that'll be on the 5th of June and same bat time. And the topic for that one will be, you know what? Let me let Jeff Greenberg, our guest,
Oh, you're gonna do
pick.
this to me? You're gonna do
I'm gonna make you
um
pick the topic. I have a topic here just in case you don't
sure.
have one, but let's let
Sure.
Jeff go
I'm
for it.
just curious. Can you tell me the last three topics? Because I've only seen this one and the shadows one.
Yeah, I can tell you the last three. So let's go back into the community. We'll go to member events and hope the site loads. I might be tempting the fates here. Hold on. There it goes. Okay, so let's look at past events. Something's going on with Circle today. It is acting really weird. It's not
It's me.
loading.
It's me, of course. You can
Is it
blame me.
you? Are you doing this?
It's me. It's me. I wish it was. I wish I had that sort of power.
Okay, let me try again, and then I'm gonna give up on it. Okay, I can't tell you because the site's not loading. I don't
That's
know what the.
okay.
I have no idea what's going on with Circle today. It's going on. It's weird.
That's okay. Help me. Well, wait a second. Circles.
Oh,
There you
I
go.
like it.
Circles.
Circles. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Making arcs and circles.
failing
Yeah.
circles.
Just yeah. Doesn't have to be failing circles, although that's but that's one of those, I think, tougher objects to necessarily find are things that are circular in nature for storytelling, for visual imagery.
Yeah,
We see a lot of parallel lines and vertical lines, but circular items might be a real interesting. I know a couple people are going to go right away and get me car wheels.
yes, yes, you will. And like Ladunarita says, we'll get some well-rounded submissions this time. And
Wow,
also,
she's fast.
and the site came up, by the way, just to close the loop. So the last three where we just did open general, 214 negative space was before that, and before that was shadows. So if you ever want to see all the past ones, just click on the past in the events area. It will show you all the past events, including all of their submissions. Cool. All
What
right,
was
we'll
it?
leave it.
Should I ask what the backup one was, or are you going to
Yeah.
save that for 2 weeks from now?
No, the backup one I had was in motion. In
Hmm.
motion. So we may use that, in June at some point. So keep that in mind.
Sure.
But circles for the next one. I like that one. That'll be fun. So we'll see what people come up with. Jeff Greenberg,
I'll see if I can.
what's going on? You jumped in at the last minute to do this with me on your busy Monday. So thank you for doing that. Of course, I appreciate you.
Always a treat.
Um, yeah.
Always a treat.
So where can people go check out Jeff Greenberg? You are a professional trainer and video editor, cutter. You run slash editors on Reddit, amongst a million other things. So what is Jeff Greenberg up to lately?
The two or three things that are going to be exciting this week. One, we're about to drop. If you're in the video field and you want to hear two professionals talk about some of the issues, the next episode of Star Wipes, which is very tongue in cheek, Frederick. It is discussions with a friend of mine about our editors, about slash editors on Reddit. And then I've got a secret item that's probably going to drop later this week or early next week about creators and AI. And Frederick, I'm going to be able to now lean on you and force you to do an interview into your schedule
Bring it.
because I did this on short notice. Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy to
Uh,
do it.
and then, interestingly, tomorrow, I've got to do definitely something that's on your radar. I hope it's on your radar. Do you know what happens tomorrow?
What is tomorrow?
Tomorrow's
I'm
the
looking at.
23rd, and something Applicious is happening on the 23rd.
Oh, I have on my calendar. Final Cut Pro Mobile Edition is available. It's actually on my calendar.
Yeah, well, just so I'm going to coin this early. Let's call it Final Cut Pro M1. Okay, I
Okay.
mean it's
Okay.
mobile, but the iPad, is it mobile? Is it a desktop or I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I agreed for a group to crash through and find 10 non-obvious things, and I'm going to, if you can believe this, because I'm not under an NDA, do not have a copy of Final Cut at this moment. I'm going to grab it the first moment I can, start playing with it, and come up with 10 or so insights on Final Cut Pro, record it, and publish all tomorrow.
Okay. Cool. Are you gonna edit and publish on the iPad? So kind of an Inception deal there.
No, no,
What?
no. I'm going to record and do it on desktop. Get me out of your mind. I need
He's
to go
like, of
fast,
course
and I
not.
don't know how this.
Why would I
I don't
use
know.
the
I don't
tool
know how
that
this
I'm
smooth
telling
wheel
people
thing
secrets
works.
about?
I
That's all of
need
it.
to go. I need to go fast, and I
Yeah.
need to be able to not have my learning curve interfere with my ability to produce.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear
So
you.
that's
I hear you.
places. I'm Film Geek in all the normal places, and I'm Greenie Mac on Reddit. And of course, if you've got questions about video, whether it's color or not, whether it's Resolve, Final Cut, Premiere, media composer, feel free to reach out. I, live for this stuff,
He does.
along with a conference or two where I get to speak with Frederick Van Johnson, which is always a joy.
Always, always, my friend. Cool. All right. Well, let's leave it right there. Folks that are watching either real time or later, watching the replay, please like and subscribe to this video to feed the algorithm beast. And remember, the next critique coming up, like we said, that is going to be on the 5th of June. The topic will be circles, as per Mr. Jeff Greenberg. Circles. That's not a circle. I don't know what the hell that is. That's not a circle.
That's about the closest I'm going to get to a circle, man.
All right. All right, Jeff. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for jumping in. You did a fantastic job, as expected, as usual. And everyone in the chat and that tuned in for the live stream, thank you for popping in here and playing along. We will see you hopefully later this week at our member mixer if you're a member of the TWiP community. And if you're not, you should become one. Head over to, I think we have it at join.thisweekinphoto.com. All right, we'll leave it right there. Thank you, sir. See you next time, Jeff.
Thank you.
Ending.